So guys, you're having trouble with your bloody MIG liner, you know, when you're doing flux core welding and you got a little welder like this. How the hell do you change your MIG liner if it hasn't got a Euro connection in it, like if it's hardwired like this? Especially when your machine's spitting and starting like this thing is. Anyway guys, that's what this video's about. I'll show you how to change the MIG liner in a hardwired machine like this. So you'll be flux core welding again in no time. Yeehaw! Same as usual guys, if you like my video, subscribe, drop me a like, drop me a comment, come say good day in the comments below, and let's pull this machine to bits, and let's fix the liner. So if we have a look here guys, you see it's not like my other welder. This one's hardwired because it's quite a little bit smaller welder. It's more portable than my other one. So what we're going to have to do guys is somehow take this out of here without pulling the whole bloody machine to bits, because there's a liner in this tube here, and I'll show you how to do it. It's not as hard as what you might think. So if we look at my other big machine here guys, you can see the welding torch here. We've got it here like so, but this one here, it's got the screw-in connector like this. I think they call it a Euro connector or something. And if your machine's a little bit dearer and it's not so portable as the little ones, then they tend to put this sort of plug on. But see what I mean? Like this. This is where your wire goes up the guts. Your liner's in here guys. Here is for your gas, and these two pins here is for your off-on switch. But with the other little welder I've got up there, it doesn't have all this. It's hardwired into the machine. So to change the liner on this torch, all you do is undo that, pull it out, put a new one in, and away you go. So come and have a look at the other one guys, and we'll see what we can do with that. So this is not a bad little machine guys. It's a 3-in-1. It's a MIG, TIG and arc, and it's, you know, quite cheap, $200 machine. Well, I've been quite impressed with it so far. But I think I've got a bit of shit stuck in the liner, just going brrrr on the weld when I'm trying to speed up my wire, and I reckon there's a bit of shit stuck in this liner. So what I've got to do is pull it to bits. So as you can see guys, it's a little bit different to my big MIG welder, because like I showed you before, this is hardwired in. So what we're going to have to do is undo this and try and get the liner out without actually having to disconnect it from the back of the machine, and I reckon we should be able to do that, no worries at all. Here's hoping. Yeehaw! So first thing you want to do guys, if you're mucking around with this sort of thing and you've still got like half a roll of wire, just hold your wire there so it doesn't untangle, because it'll spin out, and just cut your wire off like so. And then wind this round and tuck the wire in one of these holes. Can you see this hole here? So if you tuck the wire in there and pull it through and like tie it in a knot or something so it can't all unspin, because trust me, it'll unspin and you get a great big massive matted wire everywhere, and it'll really get up your nose, eh? In fact, Pete, take that off first. Make sure when you take this off, hold the end of the wire, because it'll unspin like I told you. Take it off like so. See that guys, I've got the end of the wire here. Got it holding it with my finger here. And just tuck it through one of the holes in the side of this little cylinder thing here. You might have to go back a little bit. You might have to take it back somewhere like here, but just stick it through there and tie it up so it can't bugger off and destroy half your wire, because this is quite expensive, this wire. I'll move these out of the way, Pete. Right, so now what we're going to do here is take this plate off, guys. So let's get into that, eh? Now the wire drive motor and the rollers are all in one here, and also where it goes into the torch is all in one. So that's why we have to take this off. And it doesn't matter what your machine is, it'll be much the same as this. It might just be a fraction different with the screw mountings or something like that, but it won't be 2/5 of bugger all different. So it's about the same guys. So we'll just take them off. Just a little plastic cap like that guys. Make sure you don't lose your bloody screws, because we're going to need them when we reassemble it. And if you have a look here, can you see that guys? We've got the gas line coming if I want to use CO2 or argon or something, and that's going to the back of the machine. I've got two wires here, which is for the off-on switch on the torch. And I've got a main lead here, which is the main power lead for the torch. But here we have the liner here, see that? So what we need to do guys, is just undo that, lift that up, so it's nice and loose. Prise the liner out like so, So it looks something like that, guys. And if you really wanted to save your wire, you could actually I'll show you how to take the gun to bits at the other end, and you could actually roll the wire back up, but I'm too lazy to do that. I just prefer to cut it off because it's a little bit quicker for the video, guys. Right, guys, now we go to the other end, the torch end. Right, guys, so we're at the business end of the welder now. So this is a AK-15 torch, or an MB-15 torch. Basically means the 15 stands for like up to 150 amp, which is what this little machine is. And with these torches here, we have a left-hand thread on the contact tip holder here. So just remember when you're taking that off, guys, remember it's a left-hand thread. If it looks like this and it's got a wire wrapped around it, it's about 150 amp. It's the left-hand thread, because I've buggered a couple of these trying to do it the wrong way, and I've buggered the end of my gun. So you don't want to be doing that, guys. First thing we need to do, guys, is just take the contact tip out. It should be quite loose. Just like that. It's a 0.8 tip. And this is our contact tip holder here in the gun, guys. Here, I'll zoom in and I'll show you. And this is the bit I'm talking about, guys. It's left-hand thread. So what you need to do is pull this down a bit. If you pull that down like that, can you see this sort of a nut hex thing here? So you need to put your crescent on that, and remember it's left hand. So like so, put your crescent on there, and then we're going that way. Because I've been caught a couple of times like this, like I said before, and I've buggered the actual end of the torch, so you don't want to be doing that, guys. So we'll just take them off like so. Yeah, Grandma. See that here, guys? This is the liner, which lines up to the other end here, which is the other end of it here, which is the bit that's coming into the machine, like I showed you before with the drive rollers here, guys. So, guys, when you're dealing with torches that are pre-wired, like hardwired into your machine, chances are they're going to have it sort of locked in here, so that the liner for your torch is actually locked into the gun, because it's just a different way they're doing it. The bigger torches have a shielded wire running up here, but the smaller torches, because they make them a little bit cheaper, they have an actual normal wire, and they've got the wire attached to the end of your torch here. Anyway, I'll pull it to bits and I'll show you. It can be a right pain in the ass. But anyway, we'll see if we can get the liner out of it. So we're taking the tip holder and the tip off. So what we need to do is undo this gun. And don't let it scare you, guys, because there's going to be lots of bits and pieces in here, but we'll figure it out. Also, just nuts and bolts on this torch of mine. Some of them will have little threads, but some of them are nuts and bolts, which is a pain in the ass as well. So don't make sure you don't lose any bits and pieces, guys. So mine's just got 4, so I'll undo them. I don't know why they do it like this, probably just to make a cheaper version of a gun, but it turns out, but it can be a right pain in the ass when you're trying to change the liner, because I don't actually think they want you to change the liner on these machines. I think they just prefer you to buy a whole bloody new machine, because when you're welding and it starts spitting and then you think, oh, the machine's buggered, but chances are 9 times out of 10 it's only the bloody liner. Anyway, we'll pull it a bit like this, guys. See what we've got in here. Also note, guys, you're going to have a switch here. It's going to have a spring behind it that holds the little lever when you push it up and down. Make sure it doesn't bloody fly away. And as you can see here, we've got the 2 main wires here for the switch. We've got the main power lead here, which is not in a braided circle, which is normally in a circle around here. And your liner normally runs up the guts of it. But because these are just a little cheaper version of, I don't actually know where you can make this cheaper than the other way. It would be cheaper using the other sort of torch where you can just plug it all together. But anyway, what the hell do I know? Maybe they've got all these minions in the factory that just whack these things together so quick. Probably have, anyway. And if you've also got the option of gas, see, this is your gas tube coming up here. Your power, your gas tube, your off on. And then it runs through here, and then your liner's up here. So it's quite a bit different to the other one. So anyway, guys, grab the bloody switch and make sure you get the spring. See the spring on here? There's a little spring, and if you don't watch it, it'll go bang, and you'll never bloody find it again. So anyway, guys, this is what we're left with. Take it out of there, and make sure you know what side of the torch the switch plugs into. Because if you try and do it backwards, you're never going to get the thing back together again. So what they've actually done, guys, is made this out of several different bloody pieces rather than one piece of torch. So I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. But anyway, we'll take the swan neck off. This thing up here, the bent bit, is called the swan neck. So if we take that off, just undo it like so. All it is a piece of bloody pipe. Just remember where all your bits go, guys. Take that off like that, which is the swan neck. Then we have here a rubber block, which is holding it into the torch. So we'll take that off. See here, guys, we've got our liner here and our liner here. But what this has done here is we've got the cable connected here to get power to the end of the torch. So this is where it's different to other models that just plug in with a Euro connector. But anyway, like I say, don't let it scare you. You'll get it all back together, no worries at all. Well, I think we will anyway. And another thing, guys, you see this here? If your MIG welder has the option of gas and gasless, you're going to have a little tube up here that your gas flows in. So what you're going to have to do is take that off. Just take them off. Like so. Got them off like so. And now what we need to do, see this liner goes straight through here, but it's got a crimp here that holds it into the gun. So what we're going to have to do is undo it, unwind it so we can pull the bloody thing out, so we can take the wire off, and then we can pull the liner all the way through. So what I'll do with this liner, guys, because the machine's not that old, I'll just pull it out, show you how it comes out. I'll blow it out with compressed air, we'll put it back in and see if it makes a difference. So we want to undo this. You take this block thing here and undo it. And what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to bend this. See where this power lead is attached to this block here? You're going to have to bend it down so that where the gas fitting fits on goes over it so we can turn it around, otherwise we're never going to get it off. See that? Like so. Push it down, under, over, just so we can get it off. And there we go. That's what I'm talking about, guys. Little gas fitting there, so take that off. Now you see what I mean with the power lead here? It's got the power lead coming up, which is connected to this little block here, which is not normally on a Euro MIG torch. So if we pull the liner out like that, guys, there's our liner here. Here's our little duper thing here that holds the power wire on. So the theory is now we should just be able to pull that liner all the way up. Let's have a go. Yeah! Here's the machine end here, guys. So if we undo it from the machine end, just to try and loosen up the grip that it has on it. Like so. And just make sure we're loose in here, but don't pull the wires out of the machine. Here's our liner here, so theory is we should just be able to pull that all the way through. So let's have a go. And I'm going to have to stand out straight with it. The straighter it goes, the better. See that, guys? So I got it started, guys, so all you need to do is just pull it through. But the straighter it is, the better, guys. It's easier the straighter it is, but I've got it bent up here so you guys can see it. Yeah, here's our liner. Not much left of our bloody torch, guys. Look what we're left with. Now you see this here, guys? That's the only difference between this liner and a normal liner, is this little brass thing here that's been crimped on. But if you had to, I think you could get this off, put your new liner on, and then just crimp it back on again, and then it would do exactly the same thing. So guys, I spent the last 15 minutes blowing this liner out, and we'll see if it makes any difference. I don't know if you noticed or not, but you've seen it before, a bit of shit fly out of it, so maybe that was the problem. So anyway, we'll go and reassemble it, see if we can get that gun back together and get into it. Yeah! Right, first thing we've got to do, guys, is try and get the liner back down into this tube thing here. So it might be easier said than done, but we'll give it a crack, Nigel. Just feed it in like that. Once again, try and keep it as straight as possible. It's going in okay now. If you have a look at the machine end, you might be able to see it coming out even. If we have a look here, we'll see if we can see it coming out, guys. But I might have to go and straighten it up. No, it's still going alright, guys. Still going alright. Getting tighter. Let me straighten up the hose a bit and we'll see if we can get it in, eh? Goes a lot easier, guys, when I've straightened it out. Let's see if we can push it through. Can you see it coming through yet? Here we go, guys. We've got it just poking through here now. So we'll just grab it. Like I say, it's a pain in the ass when it's hardwired in. But anyway, you got to do what you got to do. There we go, guys. See that there? Here we go. 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 It fits in there. Beautiful. So we've got it back in here, guys. So far, so good. Righto, guys. Now let's put this bloody torch back together again. So I've got to do exactly the same thing as what we did before, but the other way around. So I've cleaned it out. So we'll tuck that up there like so. Making sure, guys, you don't put a big kink in it, because that'll defeat the whole bloody purpose of what we're trying to do. Make sure we try and keep it as straight. Just like that, guys. Just make sure you attach the main electrical wire to this block here. Then what we need to do is screw this thing back on again. Remember, this is if you've got the option of having gas as well. It's got a little gas tit on it. So we'll put them in there. And if you remember, guys, remember I told you to squash this wire down so you can actually turn the whole thing around. Otherwise, you're never going to be able to get it tight. Like so. You can see it's starting to grab now, guys. I don't know if you can see that or not. So you've got to go over that wire. And also make sure, guys, that you tighten everything up, because there's be nothing worse than putting the whole bloody gun back together and then you got a loose connection in here. Because this here is the main connection for the power into your torch, so you've got to make sure that it's tight, otherwise it's going to vibrate and you're welding away up the shit as well. Now it doesn't have to be super tight, guys, just tight enough that it isn't going to vibrate to bits. And always use the right tool for the job, eh? As you can see, I am. Rightio, so that's nice and tight. Yeah. Next thing we want to do, guys, don't forget, like I said, if you've got gas, connect your gas line back up to it. It's a push-on fit onto this little tit here. Just push it on like that, guys. Doesn't have a clamp or anything on it because it's quite a tight fit. A lot of you guys won't even have this gas pipe because you're going to be using flux core only. Right, so what you want to do now, guys, is just grab this little rubber thing. It'll be square or some sort of shape like that. Depends what shape the internals of your gun are. And just slide it on there like so. And what that does is that locks this into place into your gun. Now what you want to do, guys, is grab the swan neck, that bit that goes around like this. Put your liner inside it, like so, till it comes out the end, then tighten it up. If we just tighten it up roughly by hand, just so we can get the right distance. And when we tighten it up, if you have a look at the bottom of your gun like that, make sure that the swan neck is going in the same shape as your gun, you know what I mean, like down, because you don't want the neck to be going up and the gun pointing down. So we've got it looking like that. Now we need to tighten this nut up here to keep it all in the same position. So grab your crescent, guys, and just give them a little bit of a tweak. So you need about 30 hands to show you and do it at the same time, but we'll try, we'll get there. Get that out of the way, Pete. Just give them a little bit of a tweak up. Now see that there, guys? That's actually wrong because this is pointing the wrong direction now. This has to be pointing down when this block here is square. Just make sure that the swan neck is pointing down. Now what you want to do, guys, is mate it up back into your welding torch head, like so. The square block here fits in the square block into the handle. Now we've done this up and we're just on the slight wrong angle here. You see this is pointing away. It's got to be pointing down. So what we need to do is just, if we can, just alter this a little bit to get that pointing down in the right direction. It's actually not that hard, but when you're trying to do it on camera and hold it at the same time, it can be a right pain in the ass. Just undo it a little bit. Point it more downwards like that. And then just do it up again. Yeehaw! Right, set it in there like so. You'll find that the back grommet here fits in this slot here in your torch. It's all going to be the same, much the same, but a little bit different, if you know what I mean. And slide that down there, that'll fit in there too. Make that look nice and tidy like so. Now remember what I said to you before, guys, about that switch. So we have a micro switch here, guys, just a little off-on switch like that, click click, and that fits in 2 pins here. But if you put it in there first and then put the trigger over top of it, you'll never get the case closed. So what you have to do is put your spring in there like so. See this spring here, it just fits in a hole. And then what you need to do is find the groove where the top of it fits in, the trigger, and also the groove where the bottom of it fits in. And you'll find that the spring fits below it, like so. Can you see that, guys? We've got a little bit of plastic here holding that spring. The micro switch is not in there yet, but it goes in and out like so. See that? Don't lose that spring, because if you lose that spring, then you're welding. Sometimes the welder won't switch off, so you really need that spring. Now what you need to do is grab the micro switch, like so, push it under the button that you just put in, and clip it into the 2 lugs. Because if you do it the other way around, the switch will fall out, like it just did then. Right, I've got it in there like so. Now what I've got to try and do is bend it around and clip the micro switch in without it falling out, like that. See that, guys? Can you hear that, guys? It's actually activating the micro switch now, but that's a trick for young players as well. Don't try and jam that stuff in there, because you'll break it and then you'll be cursing and swearing Pete it doesn't bloody work. Right, and grab the other end of your handle and try and put the whole lot together and hope like hell that it actually fits. What do you reckon? And look, the swan neck's even pointing in the right direction. It's got to be a bonus, Pete. It's got to be a bonus. Right there, guys, grab your screws and just whack them back together. Watch you don't cross through them either, because I'm a bugger for doing that as well. Alright there, guys, so we'll tweak them all up. Beautiful! What do you reckon? Hey? Switch even sounds like it's working. I ain't get too carried away yet, Pete. Right, guys, so we're going to have to reassemble the tip holder here. So remember I said it's anti-clockwise when you get it off, so it's clockwise when you're putting it back on. Trick for young players. Actually, guys, what I'll do is I'll put this thing on first. Got to make it look pretty. You want to put out a little doofer on. Do them up, Pete. Look at that, it even fits snugly into that doofer, guys. Right, so we'll pull that down and we'll just tweak them up. Once again, Pete, you need 400 hands. So we just tweak them up. Yeehaw! Perfectamundo. Alright, guys, now we'll put the contact tip in. Tweak them up a little bit. Put the gas nozzle on. So guys, we managed to get the gun back together. It looks like it's a one piece. Let's see if the bloody thing will work. So what I've got to do now is thread up the machine again, kick it in the guts, and see if we can weld. Woo-hoo! So what we need to do, guys, is put this cover back on again before we do anything. Just make sure we don't blow ourselves up or anything silly like that. Make sure that liner is in the groove here. Just make sure that fits in there properly, guys. Alrighty, coyote. Let's load the wire back in. And remember, guys, when you're loading these things, always go from the bottom, don't go over the top, come from the bottom all the time. So we'll put them in there like so. Put our disc on, that's our brake. Put our tensioner spring on. Our washer to push on the tensioner, and a little wing nut here, guys. Just give it a little bit of tension, just so it can't spring by itself. Perfect. Now remember, when I tuck this wire in here, guys, so we'll take it out now and hold it at the same time so it doesn't go bing and spring out everywhere. And then we need a nice flat piece, straight piece. Like so, and I'll actually give that a bit more tension because it sort of got away with me. It sort of got away a little bit on me. Feed it through here. Into our nice clean liner like so. Feed them in there like that. Put down our drive roller. Push up our clamp, give it a couple of little tweaks. Kick it in the guts, see if we can wind it through into the torch. Yeah! Alright guys, let's see if it works, eh? Hee-hee! There we go, yeehaw! Right, let's do some welding, see if the thing actually fires up. So here we go guys, will it actually weld? Yeah! Definitely a lot smoother guys. By the time I adjust that motor speed up a little bit or down, I reckon she'll be welding as good as gold. Yeah! Look at that, and it doesn't even snap off guys. So guys, cleaning out that liner definitely helped, but it's a bit of a mission when you just can't unplug it and plug it. So guys, that just proves you can clean out a liner. It's running a lot better now, it's not spatting like it used to. I think the flux off the flux core jams up these liners quite a bit quicker. But they don't make these machines that easy to change the liners. Anyway, a little bit of mucking around and you can do it guys. Same as usual guys, if you like my video, subscribe, drop me a like, drop me a comment. Come say good day in the comments below if you want. If you want to see a review on this $200 3-in-1 machine, check up there, I'll put a link for you. And if you want some tips and tricks for flux core welding, check over that side guys, and I'll put a link up there for you. See you later. Bye. Happy welding.
Pete'sTools.com